There are names in history that echo across centuries, not because of what they left behind, because of what they didn't. One of those names is whispered in the dry winds of the Egyptian desert, a name that evokes beauty, power, and a lingering mystery that refuses to die. Nefertiti. She was called the Beautiful One Has Come, and for a time she stood beside a king who tried to remake the world. But then she vanished. No grave, no body, no clear records of her death. Just a face, carved in stone, and questions that continue to haunt archaeologists, historians, and dreamers alike. This is the story of the queen who may have ruled Egypt, or may have never existed at all. Chapter 1. A discovery that changed everything in 1912. German archaeologist Ludwig Burchard made what would become one of the most iconic archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Buried in the ruins of a workshop in Amarna, he uncovered a limestone bust, nearly intact, despite being over 3,000 years old. It was a portrait of a woman, poised, graceful, otherworldly. Her features were perfectly symmetrical. High cheekbones, almond-shaped eyes, arched brows, and a long, elegant neck. Her head was topped by a tall, flat-topped blue crown. Even after thousands of years, she seemed alive. Burchard knew instantly. This wasn't just any queen. This was Nefertiti, the consort of the revolutionary Pharaoh, Akhenaten. But there was a problem. Apart from this stunning bust, and a few inscriptions and temple reliefs, Nefertiti's story was barely there. She was everywhere and nowhere. Chapter 2. The woman beside the heretic king. To understand the mystery of Nefertiti, we must understand the man she stood beside, Pharaoh Akhenaten, born as Amenhotep IV. He ruled during Egypt's 18th dynasty, a period marked by power, wealth, and grand construction. But Akhenaten was different. He broke with centuries of tradition by abandoning Egypt's vast pantheon of gods. He elevated one deity above all others, Aton, the sun disk. Not a personified god, but the literal energy of the sun. And with this shift came the first known monotheistic religion in recorded history. Temples were shuttered, statues of old gods destroyed, a new capital was built, Akhenaten, the horizon of the Aten. Through all of this upheaval, one figure remained prominently by his side in all artistic depictions, Nefertiti. She wasn't simply the queen in the background. She was portrayed as an equal, sometimes even taking actions normally reserved for pharaohs. She offered sacrifices to Aten. She smote enemies. She wore the royal crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. This wasn't symbolic. It was power. Nefertiti was corrigent, perhaps even corolar. Some ancient inscriptions suggest she held a new title, Nefertiti, a name associated not with a queen, but with a king. Chapter 3. The disappearance, and then, without warning, she vanishes. Around year 12 of Akhenaten's reign, all mention of Nefertiti in official records ceases. No inscriptions, no tombs, no funerary goods. It's as if she was erased from time itself. This historical silence has fueled endless speculation for over a century. Did she die? Some believe she died of plague or illness, as a mysterious epidemic is thought to have swept through Akhenaten during that period. Was she exiled? Others think political turmoil led to her fall from power. Perhaps a rival faction silenced her or erased her legacy, or did she become Pharaoh herself? This is the most tantalizing theory, that Nefertiti didn't die or disappear. She'd transformed. Chapter 4. The Shadow Pharaoh. Smenkhare. Shortly after Nefertiti's disappearance, a figure named Smenkhare appears in Egyptian records, a male pharaoh, supposedly co-ruler with Akhenaten, who ruled briefly before Tutankhamun took the throne. But Smenkhare's identity is shrouded in just as much mystery. Some believe he was Akhenaten's brother. Others say he was his son. But there's also growing evidence that Smenkhare and Nefertiti were the same person. Here's why. Inscriptions referring to Nefertiti use both male and female pronouns, suggesting a ruler with a shifting identity. This name contains part of Nefertiti's own, Nefertiti. The reign of Smenkhare is so brief and poorly documented that it may have been a cover for a woman ruling in disguise. If true, this would make Nefertiti one of the few female pharaohs in Egyptian history, alongside Hatshepsut and Cleopatra. But unlike them, Nefertiti left no tomb, no mummy, no golden burial mask. Nothing but a bust and a theory. Chapter 5. The Tomb Behind the Wall. In 2015, a new theory electrified the world of Egyptology. British archaeologist Nicholas Reeves analyzed high-resolution scans of King Tutankhamun. His tomb and noticed unusual anomalies in the walls, faint outlines of what might be sealed doorways. His proposal? Tutankhamun's tomb is smaller than expected for a pharaoh, because it wasn't originally meant for him. It was an extension of a greater tomb, possibly Nefertiti's. According to Reeves, Nefertiti may have been buried behind a false wall, and when Tutankhamun died unexpectedly at age 19, his burial was hastily added to her tomb. The world watched in anticipation. Would they finally uncover her body? Would the queen emerge from the shadows? But further scans yielded inconclusive results. Excavations were halted, and the silence returned. As of today, the hidden chamber remains unopened. Chapter 6. A myth made of beauty. There's another theory. It's one that's darker and far more provocative. What if Nefertiti was never real? Some scholars suggest that Nefertiti may have been an invented persona, a symbolic figure to represent divine feminine power in Akhenaten's new religion, spiritual counterpart to Aten, not a historical woman. After all, in a regime obsessed with iconography and divine light, it would make sense to craft an idealized queen as a co-divine figure. Could it be that the stunning bust in Berlin, the one that captivates millions, is not a portrait of a real woman, but of a goddess, an idea, a myth? That would explain the absence of a tomb, the disappearance from history, the lack of hard evidence? Because how do you bury a myth? Chapter 7. Legacy in stone and silence. Over 3,300 years have passed since the reign of Akhenaten. His capital lies in ruins. Aten's temples to Aten are long gone. Its religious revolution erased. And yet, the image of Nefertiti remains, timeless, powerful. Her bust rests in the News Museum in Berlin, its eyes hollow, unfinished, as if still watching, still waiting, waiting for someone to find her, or waiting for the truth to be accepted, that her greatest legacy isn't what she left behind. Yes, what she took with her into the unknown. She reminds us that history is not just what is written, it is what is hidden, what is denied, what is buried, beneath sand, behind walls, or in silence. Nefertiti's name means the beautiful one has come. But did she truly come? And go? Or was she never meant to be found? Perhaps she still waits beneath the stone, beneath the desert. Or perhaps she lives only in our imagination. The queen who never existed